Hi pet lovers, thank you for joining Gina's Grooming. Today I'm going to be working on Cubby. Say hi Cubby. Cubby is a little Cocker Spaniel. He's a black Cocker Spaniel. And what we're going to be doing today is working with color on Cubby because he's young, but his ears are starting to get a little premature white. So in order to get him a little more of a youthful appearance, we're going to do a little bit of color touch-up, and I figure I'll take you guys on the journey with me. So let's take a look at some of the equipment that I'm going to be using for this color. Okay, what I've got, obviously I've got the hair dye. Guys, OPAWZ is the brand you want to use. Trust me, I'm going to save you a lot of footwork. I've used different brands of dyes, but OPAWZ is definitely stands up above the rest. I have got a bowl and I've got a little spoon that I'm going to be doing some mixing with. I've got a hair clip and I'll show you why I use that. I have some poopy bags, which I'm going to use 2 of, just so you guys can know. This is what I'm going to be using to cover the ears while we're waiting for the dye to set. Okay, I've got a brush. This isn't quite the exact perfect brush, but it works. It's a makeup brush. Really, most of the time, you'll be using a coloring brush. And then I want to show you guys that I am going to be using a hat because I'm going to be putting up my hair because this dye is incredibly permanent. And black on light hair is something that you should be definitely thinking about. Okay, so now I've got my supplies. I'm going to go ahead and put them. Now, in order for me to prep the dye, I'm going to have to do it a little before because it takes a little while for the mixture to activate. We're going to be applying 2 different components together for the dye. This is pretty common, but we're going to mix it up, and that's how it's going to activate before I put it on Cubby. Now, one of the things I also want to mention is recommended to do color on clean coat, on clean hair. Now, I haven't seen Cubby in a few weeks, but because it's a touch-up, I'm going to break a little bit of that rule, and I'm going to go ahead and apply the dye, not on perfectly clean hair. He does look pretty good. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do, and I'm going to come back when I'm ready for that, is, guys, I am going to be taking down some of his coat around his ears because his mom and dad like him to have a very sleek ear look. So if I do the dye before I do the cut, sometimes I can actually expose a little bit of that white again. I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead, cut down his ears a little bit, and I'll meet you guys back here in the tub when I'm ready to start mixing the color and applying it to Cubby. All right, guys, I'm back in the tub. I'm ready to start my preparation. Guys, just to kind of go over, I told you guys why I'm going to have a hat. So I'm going to put that on when I start working with Cubby to make sure to protect my hair. So let me take you through the mixing of the product and everything that I do in preparation before I get Cubby in the tub. Okay, guys, one of the things I didn't mention when we did our inventory is latex gloves, rubber gloves, very important. This stuff is stainy, and make sure you're wearing clothing that's going to protect you. I am wearing black, because I'm working with black dye. So if it gets on my clothing, it won't stain. I'm also going to be using a dark towel to put under Cubby so that he has some traction in the tub, but something that I don't mind if it stains a little bit with the black. Okay, so here is our OPAWZ hair dye. Okay, so it comes in 2 parts. Okay, so we've got, I've been using this for a while. I think I've been using probably for about a year or so, just to give you an idea of how long this lasts. Okay, so it's going to be 1-to-1. Okay, so I put in a bunch of this from part 1. Okay, you guys can see that. Okay, so that's our part 1. I may need to mix more, but for now I don't want to waste too much. Here is our part 2. The 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, I'm doing it by eye, which seems to work just fine. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and mix this. Move the box over. So at this point, it's like a white and creamy paste, but it's going to start darkening up as I mix and activate it. Okay, so now I've got my mixture. Obviously, since I'm only doing a small part of the body, I'm only mixing a little bit. I want to make sure that this product goes a long way. Another thing, guys, also I changed. Usually, I don't know if you guys watch the channel, I usually have my grooming loop in the tub is hot pink. That has also stained with the dye. So now I change it to my black, and pretty much I've created an environment that nothing can get stained with this dye, because it is really potent and it stays for many, many months with just little touch-ups in between. Okay, so let's jump in and get Cubby his little facelift. Good boy, Cubs. Okay. So this is where I'm going to also implement the use of the poopy bag. Okay. So I'm going to find the opening because I want to protect his eyes, obviously, while I'm doing this. If any dye gets in the eye, you have to rinse. You avoid it very, very much. This is not something that should get in their eyes, obviously. So just be very, very careful. And that's what I use the poopy bag for, is I use it, I put my hand in there, and this is my working surface, as you can see, okay? So this is where I'm going to be doing all the dye, but I'm also, this part of the bag is protecting his eyes. If he shakes, I'm going to keep this right there. Okay, so here is my OPAWZ mixture. I'm just putting it in the tub so it's easy for me to reach. I'm going to start working at the front with my brush. Good boy. Got a little dollop there. Fortunately, because he's a black dog and I'm using black dye, I don't have to worry about the rest of the body. But if I was doing some kind of a color, let's say this was a white dog and I was dyeing the ears black, I would definitely want to cover the body and protect the body. So, because dogs do shake, they shake when they get wet, they shake when things kind of feel funny to them or tickle around the ears. So we are definitely going to be expecting a lot of shaking. Okay, and I'm going to do front and back of the ears. Okay, see all that white inside? We want to get that. I mean, obviously, I'm only going to get the edges because I don't want to go too far into the ear canal. But right here at the front, where this turn is of the ear, we want to make sure that the dye gets really nicely into there. And then we're going to go through and work this in with our gloves. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to take my gloved hand, take a little bit of the dye with me and work it nicely into his coat and protecting his face, his eyes. Cubby, you're doing great, buddy. Thank you. Thank you for being such a good victim. You're going to look 10 years younger. Where I see spots where I can get more dye into there, I will do so. Now I know it's coming out as a creamy substance, but as soon as it kind of rests and activates, which just to let you guys know, it takes about 30 minutes to really get in there. But once that's done, we're going to rinse off, shampoo. We're going to shampoo around the ears, and I'll show you how I do that. Again, we're breaking a little bit of the rules because we're doing black on black. This isn't super creative grooming. We're not making him into a dragon like Gabriel Feitosa, if you guys know him. One of the nicest guys in the industry, but very creative. Unfortunately, I do not have that skill, but I can do things like this. So you guys, as soon as you learn how to use color, the sky's the limit, basically, as long as you keep the pets safe and you're working with animals that will tolerate it. Obviously, things that are aesthetic in nature, and they're really for us, right? For the way that the dog looks, we want to make sure that we only work with candidates who really don't mind it. Cubby loves the attention, so this works for all of us all around. Okay, so I got that. I've got enough dye to do the other ear. So what I'm going to do for this ear I'm gonna take my poopy bag, okay? Just like I use a poop bag. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take off this glove. And I'm going to tie it up here because I want to protect his face from him shaking the ears. Okay. Takes a little finesse and a little challenging when you've got a latex glove on yourself. Okay, I want to make sure that this is hanging naturally for him. Okay, very good. Now this is where I'm going to use the clip. When I'm going to have the other ear, I actually tie the bags together. I'll show you how I do that, but for right now, I want to make sure that he doesn't shake this bag off. So I'm just going to give him an extra little clip. You are doing so good, Cubby. Thank you. Okay, other ear. No, boo-boo. No. Stay inside. Stay inside. We didn't say we're done. Okay, let's get to the other side. I'm going to put on a new latex glove on the side that I was doing the color. You guys can see where I kind of blopped a little bit over here on this glove. So you can see the color coming through. Okay, other side. Stay Cubs. Stay Cubs. All right. Where's my bag? Just like we've learned how to use them in poop. Put your hand in the bag. Secure the ear. And we start painting. All right. See that color starting to kind of come in now. Especially up front. Right in here. Now, guys, fortunately, I did cut these ears. I'm going to refine them at the final stages after his haircut because he's getting a full groom today. But for the most part, taking off that coat not only helps save product, but it also is going to be much more effective because I'm not dyeing deeper, right, where I would be doing that. Okay, so I want to show you guys my little bag trick. So here I am. I'm going to tie this ear up just like I tied the other one. A little more difficult to do it with latex gloves on. It kind of just has a little grip. Okay, so now I've got my two little rabbit ears here. Okay, I'm going to gently tie them together. Let them fall. Have some give because I don't want, let me do that again. I don't want him to feel that his ears are being lifted up too much because then he'll shake his head, which he will do anyway. This way. Got two little color bags. Oh, look how handsome you are. Good boy. Okay, Cubby, you want to sit? You want to sit? Good boy, Cubs. Good boy, Cubby. Good boy. All right, guys, I'm going to put him down, let him kind of chill for about 30 minutes. I'm going to go do things in the salon. There's always something to do. As I will meet you guys back here in 30 minutes for us to do the rinse, and then I'll show you the final results. All right, guys, almost there. I'm going to go grab Cubby after I put on new gloves. So you're going to go through a few pairs in this process to make sure that you don't get all messed up. I did have a big blop that I had to kind of exfoliate off. It's going to take a few washes to get that off, so just be prepared for that too. Have a moment of truth. Come on, Cubbies. Let's go. There we go. Good boy. Okay. So let's take a look. I've already warmed up my water. I'm going to go ear by ear. I'm going to leave that other ear here. Here we go. Okay. Nice warm water. I want to get it kind of tucked into the tub. Start rinsing away from his face. Okay, that is looking really good. I want to make sure to be protecting his face as long as there is still color running down, because we don't want this getting into his eyes. Good boy. And guys, with cocker ears, they're really thick, so you kind of have to rinse both sides. But just make sure no water in the canal. Just rinsing this color off. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, guys, well, I've got the water running clear. I'm going to shampoo and groom him like normal. Just know that OPAWZ, the company that makes the dye, does not recommend to shampoo after you do the dye. Now, since I haven't seen Cubby in a while, I do need to wash his ears. I'm just going to use gentle shampoo and not scrub around that area. But as long as I do this right, this color should stay for quite a few months. But guys, I will meet you guys back on the table when we got him nice and dried, we've done his haircut, and I'll give you the final reveal. Okay, let's take a look, boy. Sit. Good boy, Cubby. Look at that color. Gorgeous. Dark ears. Awesome, awesome. Well, all right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for that thumbs up. Thanks for subscribing. Thank you, Cubby. Guys, we'll see you soon. Bye.